just want to bring in Kiran Shaw and Adi Godrej at this point. It's, I mean, both of you, it's very difficult to leave you because the level of debate is outstanding. But Kiran Shaw, I know that you're very involved in malnutrition, and we were asking this question just about half an hour ago. How can this government have 80 million tons of food grains when there are children suffering from malnutrition? It's just, there are excuses, state subject, distribution, prices, but how do you tell a child who's suffering? Isn't this unforgivable? 80 million tons and malnutrition side by side.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Pranay, we've always had this problem of delivery. And I think we have to focus on that aspect. I mean, even when we are discussing the budget, I personally believe that, you know, it's in the right direction. We have to build on this budget because directionally it's very positive. And strategically it's very positive because it has managed to address inclusiveness, it has focused on growth. But I think the devil is in the implementation and delivery, and timely implementation, which is where we've always failed.
Right. Adi Godrej, the criticism, do you subscribe to this, that it's a good budget, but it's a budget that is a list of small ideas and no real big idea that can change this mood of pessimism in this country and bringing back investment?
No, I think, first of all, I think he has done a very good job in announcing fiscal containment.
Yes.
I think this 5.2% is a great achievement, and 4.8% next year would be very good. This fiscal consolidation itself will lead to better growth. It will lead to inflation containment, which would in turn lead to interest reduction, and that could help investment. I think some of the policies is announced today are very good. Some of them to encourage investment in the stock market rather than in gold, incentives in terms of defining FII and FDI, which will allow a lot of investment which is not coming in today because of the FDI limits will come in as FII. I think some of the expenditure areas he has targeted in these budget proposals are very good. They'll be growth oriented and they'll be inclusiveness oriented. I only have a concern about a couple of points that are creeping in through the back door, where investment through Singapore, Mauritius, etc. could be affected. Not been fully clarified yet.
The finance minister did say he is going to clarify that.
Yes, I hope he does.
Actually write it down.
Negative perception can do a lot of damage when we are on the mend.
Right. Raghuram, you're going to be here for the next hour, and we're going to pick your brains. Maybe you don't look very happy. But generally from what you're hearing, are you worried that it hasn't really struck home as a budget that could change the mood?
Well, I think again, the main objective of the budget was to say our finances are coming back in order.
Right.
I think much of the thrust for growth should come from outside the budget, from implementation that Kiran Shaw Majumdar was talking about, implementation,
delivery,
which Mr. Jaitley was also talking about, but also from the private sector. Once it sees the government is not going to become, a spendthrift government, once it realizes finances are in order, once it sees that potentially inflation is coming down, the private sector gets into the act. People start buying. People start making things. That is the kind of impetus that we need. It's not massive sort of announcements about we're going to do this thing. If we say we're going to do this thing, you also got to say at the same time in these straitened situations where you're going to finance it from.
Exactly.
Which means which tax are you going to levy?
Right.
Who are you going to tax?
Yeah.
If you don't want the tax, don't ask for the big giveaway. That's not going to happen.
Right. So I'm going to ask Arun and Kapil Sibal one more question. Arun, Jaitley, can you tell us one thing in the budget that you think was really good and you welcomed? And Kapil Sibal, one thing in the budget that was not there and you wish had been there? Arun Jaitley, one thing which was good in the budget.
Well, I think the last few years we've been a little careless about fiscal consolidation. That approach that has to be balanced along with the growth itself was a sensible idea. And the fact that in an election year you attempted to do that, I think indicated a little seriousness.
I think that's very fair and very good of you to say that. Yes, that was the key point in this budget, the positive. Kapil Sibal, the one thing that should have been there, we wish it wasn't there.
Well, I think that the IT sector has been the generator of growth in this country. It's led growth in this country in the previous years, and some statement as to what the finance minister intends to do to keep that sector kicking and alive, and some statement on the consumer electronics side, which is going to generate manufacturing in this country. If those two issues were touched upon by the finance minister, I think it would have sent an even more positive signal.
Right, gentlemen, thank you all very much indeed. We'll take a break now. When we come back, Raghuram Rajan will be with us, and we'll be looking at the bigger picture. Where does this budget place India in the global market? We are in a competitive world, and is that going to change? That's after the break, and thank you all very much indeed. Thank you.